Hey guys, Doc here again, and this time we're doing the initial assessment video, and I wanted to start tonight with Vatican City by Mark Millar and Per Berg. Now, I will start off by saying this artwork may not be for everybody, but I really thought it was a breath of fresh air. It was different enough that it brought this story to life in a way that I don't think another artist might have been able to pull it off. As you can tell, the artwork in this story is pretty bright in certain points and dark in others. The main story is that vampires have taken over everywhere in the entire world except for the holy innards of Vatican City. So they are waiting out some humans who have been trapped inside Vatican City, and it's really a waiting game. You know, it's that whole thing about symbiotes. You know, there's we can wait out here all you want, meat, because we know that you're in there. And so they can't come in because of the nature of Vatican City and that it's holy ground. But you get to see that this guy here, let's see. Come on. Guido Cavelti is trying to get a job as one of the Pope's protectors. And he's waiting around for a job interview that unfortunately is never going to come because the world's going to turn upside down before that happens. But he ends up going into this situation where people are just getting slaughtered and helps get everybody to safety inside the Vatican. And he's trying to keep everybody together. So it's almost like a Rick Grimes situation for early on in The Walking Dead, where Rick has got to pull everybody together. So here he's explaining to everybody who he is, and you've got a tour guide who knows about the weaponry that's down in the basement, and then here's the general manager, and he said he has keys to the munitions room. So even though guards aren't there, then if anybody knows how to use weapons, I can let you in there and we can protect ourselves. So one interesting thing is that just like Dracula could take over certain people in the movies and in the books, then these vampires can also take on kind of a familiar, I guess would be the term. And they can send these humans who are still human, they can move within the Vatican. They can send them in there to try to kill these people. It's really a race against time, whether or not the vampires are going to win or the people are going to run out of food. So it's kind of like King of Spies that Mark did a couple of years ago, where you have an old disgruntled James Bond type, and he realizes that he's going to die soon. He's got a terminal cancer. So he says, you know what? I'm going to go back and all of the wrong people that I hurt and killed, I'm going to go back and make these situations right again before I die. He comes at things from a different angle than most writers, is the point I'm trying to make with that. He learned his craft from Grant Morrison, but Mark doesn't really lean so much, except for maybe in the Magic Order. He doesn't lean into those tropes of magic and mysticism and all of that like Grant Morrison does. Instead, he takes something that you're used to looking at each and every day and turns it on its head so that it makes you go, and think about it. This is, like I said, kind of a straightforward story, but at the end of the day, you've got a protector, you've got uncertainty, you've got all of these different things that come together. So in this particular initial assessment, I would say that if those are the kind of stories that you're looking for, I would definitely prescribe Vatican City, and it's an issue 1. I think it's going to be a mini, so probably 4 to 5 issues tops, but it will really get your blood pumping, and it'll get you excited, and you'll be ready to have issue 2 in your hand as soon as possible. Like I said, the artwork's not for everybody, but it is really, really awesome stuff. All right, And here we go with Amazing Spider-Man #1. We've got this amazing Black Cat cover that I mentioned before, and inside we have Pepe Larraz doing the artwork on the main story, where Peter Parker is trying to find a job. He's hanging out with Aunt May. He has gotten one of his old high school buddies to put in a good word for him at his company. And then all of a sudden, here comes a double-page spread of the Rhino. And the Rhino is absolutely tearing New York City apart until he falls out with a heart attack. So that right there is all I'm really going to say about this book for the time being. But doesn't that sound more like a Spider-Man book than what we ever got in the last volume? It's action, it's adventure, it's Peter Parker falling back on the old Parker luck and going out on a date with Shay Markin. It's getting back to where the character is supposed to be. Now, I'll say that this is an amazing issue 1, and I'm excited to see where we go from here. I will also say, again, until we get new editorial in here, Spider-Man fans are not going to get what they want. They're just not. I honestly believe, the older and more cynical that I get, that this is just a damn fake out. They're giving you what you think you want in this first issue, and then they're just going to do what they want to do, like they've been doing for the past couple of years with this title. I think Joe Kelly has a better grasp of who Peter Parker and his surrounding castmates are than Zeb Wells did. Like I said, I wasn't, nothing against Zeb Wells, and I know I keep talking about him, but I was never that impressed with the stuff that he did when he worked on the Brand New Day set. Joe Kelly, to me, seems like a much better fit for Spider-Man. So it's amazing that it's taken them so long to put him on this title, and I have a lot of hope for it. But like I said, until we get new blood in the Spider Office itself, as far as editors, I just don't see them giving us a good run of what we really, really want. But, just for the haters, because I know that those people exist out there. Yes, John Romita Jr. is back in the second story, also written by Joe Kelly. And you have Norman Osborn being attacked by someone who lost their wife when he was the Green Goblin. But you get a new prerogative from Norman Osborn. He said, I brought you here today because I was going to retire from Oscorp and I was going to live out the rest of my life in relative obscurity. But now that I see the damage that the Goblin has wrought over the years, then I'm going to atone for the sins of my past with every tool of my disposal. Effective immediately, this is the only mission of Oscorp. So, like I said, a lot of people they really just don't like John Romita Jr.'s art. So, I'm sorry, I did have to throw that in there as a little bit of a, too bad. Because I'm excited that JR is sticking around. Now, is he going to be in every issue? No, he's not. But he's going to do some backup stories. He'll do a fill-in issue here and there. That being said, I have heard terrible, terrible things about the page rates that the artists are receiving at Marvel these days. So a lot of people say that JR has lost his touch. I don't really think that's what it is. I think that he's probably getting a really, really crappy pay rate for each page that he turns in. And I don't know very many people who have drawn the same character or written the same character for decades that all of a sudden, if you're getting, let's say that at one point everything was hunky-dory and you were getting $300 a page, now all of a sudden the book is coming out twice a month, so you're only getting, let's say, $160 a page. I don't know a lot of people that are going to maintain the absolute top-tier artwork when they've lost half of their money. Then again, you got to remember that the Johnny Jr. that I grew up with in 1996 when I was 15, that was 30 years ago now. So John, just like his father before his father passed, is not the man that he was 30 years ago. So his artwork is going to be a little bit less than it used to be. But like I said, then again, if you lose half of your page rate, I don't know why anybody would go out there and continue to just hammer it out week in and week out, day in and day out, with the absolute top tier artwork that they could possibly give. It would be like taking somebody of John Jr.'s caliber and taking them to DC and putting them on something like Ragman. Okay, Ragman, nothing wrong with Ragman, but you're not going to get the same page rate doing Ragman as you would be doing Superman or doing Batman or Spectre for that matter. So before we all poo-poo on John Romita Jr., let's think about some of the outside factors that might cause his artwork to not be what it used to be. Anyway, guys, like I said, this book is definitely a recommend. I think that you should check it out. It's loaded with action. It's got this awesome Pepe Larraz artwork, and I can't wait to see what comes in 2 very small weeks. And I am anxiously waiting to see if Joe Kelly is still on as the writer when we get to issue 1000, because right now we are at legacy number 965. So only 35 issues to go, which means a year and a half at the rate that they're going before we hit Amazing Spider-Man number 1000. All right, guys, thanks for checking the video out. Again, we have Vatican City and ASM Volume 7, number 1.